Today's episode is proudly sponsored by Hellbender Vinyl. For those of you that don't know, Hellbender is a vinyl record pressing plant located right here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, doing high quality, professional, top of the line record pressing, baby. We finally got one here. There aren't very many in the world, let alone the country, and to have one right under our nose is an insane resource. So if you are a musician looking to get some stuff pressed to wax, I highly, highly recommend checking out the folks over at Hellbender. Tell them Sykes sent you. I've always wanted to say that. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Sit back, relax, and let's start the beats. It has started. We are here. I don't have an intro, but we are here. I'm sitting today with 3/4 of the one and only Kicked in the Head by a Horse. Make some noise for the internet, everybody. I appreciate you all coming by today to sit with me and talk about music, talk about community, talk about $26 gluten-free pizzas. Hell yeah. And everything in between. It is a lovely rainy Sunday. We're all kind of chill right now. I don't know if we all had chaotic weekends, chaotic lives. But for those of you that aren't familiar with this band, you are a chaotic band. How would you like to describe Kicked in the Head by a Horse to somebody that has never heard you before? What is the obnoxious subgenre that you want to put on the band?
Chaotic horsecore. Why don't y'all put that on the Spotify bio? I don't know who did it, but I love it.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
It must be that.
That leaves one person.
I
Yeah.
clicked on one day, I'm like, yeah.
That works.
It's different with that. What would you consider it?
Yeah, I would say chaotic is definitely a good word. I would say like we're not really mathcore, but we're definitely like chaotic, like a mathcore band would be.
It's weird because with what we're writing now, you can't really pin it. There's just like it's chaos. Like that's the main thing. It's chaos. But
Our new stuff is different.
It's kind of all over the place.
Very different from what from what is released already.
Yeah.
So,
Well, like with every band I've ever done too, like on my side of it, like writing wise, I always try to have like, I don't know how to explain it. Like the band has its own vibe and its own style and its own sound. Like at least that's my goal. It might not come out that way sometimes, but so like I really don't like being in a band that just falls straight into one category, one genre, and it just blends in with the other bands in that genre, which is nothing fine with it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just when I like do band stuff, I always fall into the weird category of just like not blending in usually.
Yeah, for me, I find that especially in a lot of modern, we'll just say heavy music, right? Loud guitar, angry, screamy bullshit. I feel like over the past couple of decades now at this point, honestly, there's been like a lack of individuality in a lot of ways. It seems like there's a lot of like, oh, we want to be a part of this community, which means we need to sound like every other band in that community. And I don't know why or how that happened. I will say I'm starting to see that loosen up, which is cool. I feel like there's a lot more younger bands, not even necessarily in terms of like the age of the people in the band, but just newer projects that are starting to embrace more individuality, which I think is like really important in any genre, but particularly in like this heavy music stuff, because like so much stuff has already been done and like it's sweet. Like, don't get me wrong, like I'll listen to Converge ripoff bands till the day I die. But like, we could try some other shit.
Yeah.
Even they try other shit,
Mhm.
you know? Like, I feel like, I don't know, but I like your band, and that's why I wanted to have you come on today.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
And I'm excited to hear this new stuff.
Yeah, it's when are we expecting it?
I mean, there's an unannounced split that will be the first thing out towards the fall-ish of this year. Yeah. Which all the songs in that sound nothing like we've ever done. I mean, it's in the same realm, but it's just so different and like violent.
Yeah, I would say it's a lot more aggressive than what we were doing before. I mean, I guess we were aggressive before, but like it's definitely more on like the we were saying slam end of things, but I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily a good word for it either. So
I've been listening to way much Snuffed on Sight, so that's that gives you any idea.
Yeah.
Peeling flesh, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that it's like I remember when I was younger and bands would do splits. Like this is the last fucking time I bring up Converge, but there's like a Converge split that came out like when I was in high school, and like that stuff, the agoraphobic one, and like split. That stuff is like wild for like them. Like those are like sick Converge songs, and they're way more like aggressive than a lot of other stuff they've done in like a unique way. But I feel like that's a cool thing about a split is you can kind of like step outside and be like, we're just like not like fucking around, but like, hey, here's a little bit of this with our friends that maybe also kind of sound like that, or maybe both bands are just doing something a little wild.
Yeah, and I don't think we should say who the other band.
Not yet.
Don't spoil it.
We're not going to spoil anything, but I think we talked about like doing like a meshed song, like writing it together. So
yeah, we did
changing it around some more.
There was a band, a Pittsburgh band years ago. Like wasn't that long ago, but actually I think we put out this split in like 2016, so that was quite a while ago. They were called Trash Bag, and I did a split. They were like just like a 3-piece punk band, and I did a split with them as just psych solo hip hop. And what we did was the way we did it was we recorded all of their stuff, and then I made all of my beats sampling all of their drums and bass stuff that we recorded. So like, and it like chopped up all of their stuff and made beats and rapped. And it was like, it went like one of their songs, one of my songs, one of their songs. And then we did one like that was together where it was like both of us. So it was fun.
That sounds amazing.
It was a lot of fun. It was like probably like one
fun.
of the funnest projects I did, and like nobody got it. Because again, it's just one of those like weirdo things where it's like, we're doing this because like we all fuck with each other and we're homies, and like this is like a fun, weird idea. Nothing sounds like this.
Yeah. But
when you like have something that nothing sounds like, it's really hard to like put it out into the world because there's no label to put on it.
Yeah. When it comes to like, that's why I like doing more of out of the box stuff like that. And like, because one thing I've noticed over the years is it has more of a longevity to it, or like people may find it later on and it touches like a wave of its own and people start finding it and listening to it. And when you're simply in like a one genre where it kind of just, you're kind of blending in, coming back, like someone finding that later, it's a lot hard, like rare. I don't know if that makes sense, but like you don't see that as often. But like you'll come across random albums, random splits, random, anything that just stand out and like,
I mean, like
catch a wave.
I mean, like art doesn't have like an expiration date really. Yeah. And if something is unique today, it's going to be unique tomorrow. It'll always be unique because it is unique.
Exactly.
But if something is just sort of like a carbon copy or like another like Black Sabbath doom worship band or whatever, it's more like temporary. It's like, this is cool in this moment, but at the end of the day, the only things that people are really going to remember is like the Black Sabbath stuff.
Yeah, that's what they're going to come back to later on.
Like normally. This is cool for now. If I'm like at this show and like, I'm seeing this band play, I'm like, this is sweet, but I'm not going to like remember it.
Yeah.
That's just me.
No, I totally get that. That's how I am with a lot of stuff like that too.
It's also, there's like a weird thing with like, just like making music and being in a band and recording it and putting it out. Like how much of this stuff really needs to be like archived? You know, like if it's like so much stuff in this realm, I feel is like it's made for a live space. It's made for like a dirty room with dirty people just punching each other.
Nasty bathrooms.
Yeah. And like, it's like, I mean, I enjoy listening to recorded versions of these songs. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's so weird that like, I don't know, the thought of like having all of this like regurgitated sort of like music that sounds like stuff that has already existed and then like recording it and trying to sell it. I don't know. That's we can open up a whole nother can of worms that maybe we probably shouldn't in terms of like consumerism in DIY.
Yeah. That could be a long rabbit hole to go down. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's so, I don't know. I've just been going through this in my own brain a lot where it's like, I know why I'm in a band because I want to like hang out with my friends and play shows and make friends and that's it. And like recording music is sick. But then there's like all of this other stuff where it's like, oh, I gotta make sure everything's uploaded to all the streaming services, and then I should probably tell people about it, and maybe we should make a music video, and maybe we should do this and that. And it's like we're just like shitheads in Pittsburgh. I'm not, you know, we're not fucking some like big band with people that are actually helping us do this shit and helping us pay for it.
Yeah,
I think that's really like what it ends up like really boils down to for me is like it's like a dramatic misuse of resources. I think if you're like an independent band to be trying to do all this shit to like cosplay as a signed big band.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, a lot of us like in the DIY music scene do have like a regular 9-to-5 job also because we have rent to pay and, you know, we have other things to take care of in life outside of just making music. And, you know, we're trying to do this, you know, while doing that as well. So it's not easy to, you know, keep it all together at times, but you know, you don't want to. I don't really know what I'm trying to say with that, but like, you know, it's working a 9-to-5 job and holding a band down and doing it like is very difficult without a label and like, you know, keeping it DIY. So
it's basically 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah, it's like another full-time job basically.
Especially when you're trying to keep up with all the social media stuff, trying to like keep promoting yourself in different ways. Constantly trying to rehearse your songs, practice your songs, write new songs. I mean, especially like just we self-record everything. So like recording all the stuff, like making time for all that. It literally is like another full-time job half the time.
And we are all in second bands too.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we all have at least 2 projects that we are in. So.
You're idiots for doing all that.
So.
But it's like, you know,
you do it because you love it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you do.
These are my best friends right here. So
yeah,
you know.
And like that's the thing. It's like I think that for me, it's like trying to like keep that in check. And it's like, you know, why I am doing this is because I'm with my best friends, and like this is like all I'm good at. So like, and it's like what I want to do. You know, it's like I think about music all the time. I think about making it, listening to it, creating it, playing it, going to see it. It's like all I give a fuck about. So trying to make sure that the other stuff doesn't get like the poison, like social media businessy type stuff doesn't like get into me to a point where it makes me like resent like the only thing that I sometimes feel like matters in my life.
I hate seeing that commercialized TikTok music.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's like that type of stuff drives me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of fucking people in the world, right? So there's space for all of this bullshit to exist. But what drives me crazy about TikTok is seeing like peers that are like trying to cosplay as an influencer to try to get people to like their music. And it's like, if you want to be an influencer, be an influencer. I don't have an issue with that. Do whatever you want. Life is short. But I feel like it's really counterproductive if you're like, if you really genuinely are trying to like put all of your heart and soul and like I guess like your whole ass pussy into your band, right? You like like why are you again like it's a misuse of time and resources? Why are we now putting all this time together to make this like short form content that kind of has nothing to do with the band itself in the hopes that people will like the band? It just like bums me out when I see it. Really, I can't be mad at anybody for doing whatever they want to do. It just bums me out. It's like I don't know. There's people that I would never say out loud, but people that I know personally that I'm friends with, that I like, that I think are good musicians and really good at what they do. And it's just like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Nobody's even watching it.
Yeah.
But maybe they're having fun, and maybe it's wrong for me to assume their intentions and what they want to do with their time.
Yeah. You know, you can say that too. Just like, you know, if you want to like play in like a cover band, like, and go and like play bars, you know, people make good money doing that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, whether they realize it or not, I'd say at least I'm going to be generous and say like 45% of most active bands in any sort of aggressive style of music right now are cover bands, even if they don't realize it.
Yeah. You're probably, you're right. Yeah.
That's a very
or tribute.
Good point.
We'll call them tribute bands.
Yeah.
But
So
that's cool.
With the TikTok stuff, I've often wondered how much the like bands are on labels and such, how much the label pushes that band, like, hey, we need you to pump out some TikToks and pump out stuff. Like, that's got to be pretty high.
I fucking guarantee you there is no way that any band on a label right now, unless it's maybe like a smaller label, there's they're probably forced to have a TikTok.
I'm sure.
They also probably don't have to run it, but you know, depending on like what type of a machine they're in, you know, like if it's like top tier sort of signed big band stuff, right? There's probably a whole fucking team that's mapping every single fucking thing out for them, and they just got to show up.
You
know, people put the cameras in their face and do the thing and set it all up, and I don't know, like I imagine like that's probably a position that a band like Turnstile's in right now.
Oh yeah, probably.
You know, like where they're probably, I mean, they probably have creative control over kind of what they want to do and how they want to do it, but they have a huge team that's helping pull all those strings for them, which is cool.
Yeah. Like, we never went down the TikTok road. Like, we only have an Instagram and a Facebook. And, like, the only way I think a band like us would work with TikTok is if we only posted like actual live videos of us playing, or like
horse videos,
just like, well,
or like horse memes,
like just, you know, but like I don't think a band like us would work with the traditional sense of like what you see on there with a lot of bigger bands. With like, I don't even know how to describe what I see on there sometimes. It's just, it comes off fake and like almost like cringy, and you know,
we're not like video content creators.
Yeah,
we're not good at that.
We're not the ones that are gonna like
like
set up a
music.
tripod and like figure out like this is like what you do is amazing. Like we wouldn't be able to do this on like a.
I mean, I'm not even this good at it. Like this camera's way off center, but who cares? We're at least in the frame. You know what I mean? Like, but it's the thing that I find that bothers me, I guess, with a lot of social media stuff. And I guess it's kind of a TikTok thing, but it goes across all the platforms with like the reels and stuff, is a lot of the stuff that people are doing with the short form content. It's not even like particularly original. It's just like their version of like a trend that somebody else is doing. Like, you know, like, oh, what if, you know, Pig Destroyer wrote this Britney Spears song? This is what it would sound like.
And
you know,
at the end of the day, it's gonna fall into the spam category.
Yeah, and there's people that are good at doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I tried doing that at one point, like years ago, and it takes a lot of work to do that stuff sometimes, at least when I tried to do it, but it just felt so like it didn't feel good to make. Like,
well, I think
there's no enjoyment out of it for me to do that.
Yeah, I think that's all of this is kind of a bigger conversation about like your intention and what drives you personally. You know, me going back to acknowledging, saying like, hey, I think what somebody I know is doing on the internet is stupid. Just because I think it's stupid doesn't mean that they're not like, oh, I love doing this.
Yeah.
But it's just not for me. All these social media platforms, I've said this before, really kind of like make me feel like I have like multiple personality disorder sometimes, because like they each cater to different personality traits. And like, I can relate with like Instagram. Like that makes sense to me, but like TikTok doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. Twitter never made sense to me. It's not the type of person I am. And when I try to like that's the thing, is like, even saying like I have to like try to make something to do well on this platform, it's like, wait, what am I? I'm just trying to be a musician. I'm not trying to be a brand strategist. Like, I've been making stupid dog shit, noisy music my entire life. I'm almost fucking 40 years old. I spent all of my time doing this. I never went to one fucking business class or marketing class my entire life. So the fuck am I going to do? Spend another fucking 30 years to figure out how to do that. And then when I'm fucking 70, I can finally kick some ass on the internet.
It's just, I don't know. Like I'm all about like being very straightforward and like kind of genuine. And when it comes to like social media stuff, and if people catch or like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. Like that's just my approach to it anymore.
The thing with me is like, I think that's a good approach. And I think it's also like, I don't care if people like it or interact with it, because I know people are seeing it.
Yeah.
Because like I run into people, I'll go to shows and people will be like, oh, I saw you have that show coming up, and like my social media presence is small enough that like if somebody likes my stuff, I know. And if they don't, I know, what I mean? I don't have like a million fucking people liking my things. It'll be like 30 people liking a show flyer. Yeah. So if somebody's like, hey, I saw that thing, I'll be like, oh, cool. I'm glad you saw that. Like, I know that like you didn't interact with it, but you saw it. Like you put stuff out there, people are seeing it. People will show up if they give a shit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, write good music, play shows, be nice.
Yeah.
It's the secret to my success, whatever that may mean.
I often wonder how many musicians there are that like have the ability to write like full albums like themselves and record it themselves, and they just won't, or like they either have done it and won't put it out, or like they're like, oh, well, it won't catch a wave or people won't see it, so I'm just not going to do it. And like that always bums me out, because I used to be in that mindset for a while. Like I just wouldn't create stuff because I'm like, no one's going to see it, so why does it matter? And then I finally pushed myself out of that and was like, I'm just going to write and do whatever I want and just release music if I want. And that's, I mean, it just makes so much more sense going that route. Like it free flows your mind better in a creative way, I think, too, because by having that block in your mind where, oh, no one's seeing it, I'm not going to make this. It just, it kind of shuts your brain down in certain creative parts, in my opinion.
Totally. I think that like, if you're making any type of art for anybody but yourself, you're cooked from the jump. 100%. Like you just gotta do it for yourself. I have a couple friends that are like pretty like different people, different things, no names, but they're talented musicians or painters or whatever that are very much like, I don't have any interest in like doing this stuff, like I'll record stuff, but I just don't want to be a part of it. It's like, I think the social aspect of it really turns some people off. And like, I think just like what you were saying with nobody's going to see this anyway, so why bother?
Yeah. Exactly. Like for the longest time, like me personally, like I wanted to write a full album and like record it. And like, I've done that before with like short little like 4-song releases, and they had no traction. No one really cared. And back then when I was younger, I was like, I didn't care about that. Then as I got older, I started having more of that mindset of like, no one's going to see it, not going to, no reason to do it. But I eventually pushed past that, like I was saying, and I actually wrote a full album and I released a full album. And I mean, no one really saw it, but that I don't really care. But because of that, I was able to like, let me try to word this a little better. Like the album went down roads of like creative paths that I've never done before. And like, if I wouldn't have pushed past that and I wouldn't have like created that, I wouldn't have those new and fresh ideas in those realms that I have now that I've been working under. Like, so there's a lot of benefit to just push past that and just release whatever you want and have no care. Wow.
Yeah, I like try to think a lot about my happiest time, like when I felt the best about making music. And it was like probably when I was like 17 or 18, pre all social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a delusion that I wish I could get back, where it was like, we record some songs, we get them put onto a CD. I get like the local store to carry that CD, and it's like next to the other CDs of like, next to the fucking Metallica CDs or whatever. And I'm like, we fucking did it, and like that was it. It was the shit, you know what I mean? People were like, yeah, go to the exchange in Squirrel Hill, you can get our CD, and like now it's like, it's on Spotify, just look it up. And like there's all these bullshit numbers, like everybody could see. It's just like it like weighs you down, even if you're like, I don't care about it. It's like it's so much easier to just be like, nobody is interacting with this. Like any level of delusion is gone.
Yeah.
Now.
It's just
hard. But a new delusion has happened because you'll get a lot of people that are paying for things.
Yeah.
Paying for numbers. Another wormhole we don't got to go down.
I mean, it can be obvious sometimes when you see that, like
20 monthly listeners, 100,000
on
a song. Yeah.
Yeah.
You sure about that?
Then you go under like related artists, and it's like totally different genre in a totally other country, and you're just like, oh, this makes 0 sense. This has to be like a paid thing. And then like I've seen bands in the past where they'll have like this massive following online, massive numbers. And you're like, this is like a superstar type band. And then you'll like go to one of their shows and there's like no one there. And I'm like, okay, then more than likely those numbers were bought, or like, they just, I mean, maybe it's a thing where they don't have like a presence in that scene, but more than likely it's bought numbers, and they're trying to look the part without having it.
We had an experience with Greywalker where we were putting out our second album, and we wanted to try to like put some real juice into this. You know what I mean? Like we are operating on a DIY budget. It's still totally independent, but it's like, hey, like, we're going to try to find like maybe like a DIY PR person to help us do some stuff. And like, we did that. And like at the time we really didn't know what we were doing or what we were paying for. But basically we ended up just paying somebody to run bots on our shit. And it like fucked us. It like really, really fucked us. Cause like we were like, at first like, wow, we're getting all these followers and stuff. And I'm like, wait, something doesn't look right.
Yeah.
And it sucked because like it was like a dude that like I trusted that plays in a band. He still plays in bands. Like, he's out there, he's in these streets, and his band is successful. So I'm like, okay, like maybe you're serious, but we just kind of got hosed and it sucked.
Yeah.
It was a bummer. But I think that's like this whole reason I'm bringing that up is I think sometimes when like bands are trying things out and like they're trying to work with other people, sometimes you get put into these positions where it's like, shit, like that's not what we wanted at all. And now you're kind of stuck with it.
I never really thought of that, of like bands that want to try to do some PR and then they get, fucked over by someone else that they, in that realm, and kind of ruin like that. Cause that can ruin like your fan base totally, and like your algorithm and all that. It can really put a damper on
for
things.
Like forever. Yeah. But best way to do it is get in a van and go travel around the state and the country. Go as far as you can.
There's a couple bands that I have played with that are like totally social media-less.
Yeah,
and it's
I've seen that. Yeah,
it's pretty, and they're touring.
Yeah, and they do pretty all right.
Yeah,
like it's pretty impressive to see that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like the internet and the real world are two very, very different places, and if you just engage in the real world, like
life is so much better.
Yeah, and people will like talk about you. Like if you're good enough, people will post your shit. You won't be getting tagged in anything, but fuck cares.
Like I mean, I remember like this was years ago. I played a house show somewhere in like West Virginia. It was like middle of nowhere, like there wasn't really anything around, and the house was packed, and like there were like none of the bands had like a social media presence at the time, and like it was a fantastic show. Like they were all amazing, and like, I'm not sure where any of them went off to at this point, but that was at the time I thought that was like the most surreal thing ever, because that was like the first time I ever like went to a real like house show, and like it was packed and I didn't know a single person there, so that was a cool experience. But
just like the first band I was in was called TOS, and the guitarist and drummer would set up these festivals in their backyard, but it was basically just a giant field, and and it's like 2 hours away from here, middle of nowhere, and they would pack the whole field out with like people, and it would just be nothing but hardcore bands and just fun shit. And
people know how to do it.
Yeah, and I was always just like, I'm so shocked that everyone's willing to drive 2 hours in the middle of nowhere like this to. Like they wouldn't like book no like big bands or nothing. It was just like all the bands from like the area and Pittsburgh, and it was so much fun. I miss that. Having that, like, it was almost like a small community, and I don't know, it was just so different.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it always takes, if your scene, whatever genre it is, doesn't have like a promoter or a booker in it that really gives a shit, it's so hard for the scene to like really sustain itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like now so many bands are like their own bookers, and there's like not too many people that are just like, oh, that's such and such that books the shows. There's not those people anymore. It's just like,
it's very small,
a band rented the venue.
Yeah.
And that's like, we gave Ormsby $60 and we're just doing this show to help these guys from Michigan or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
There's no like bigger bubble. I mean, it exists, but not enough.
You got to be careful with that sometimes, because I mean, I know when I was young, like 17, 18, and I just started playing shows like I didn't know of like, the local venues. I didn't know of like Roboto and like Preserving at the time, which I honestly don't even think Preserving was really like open. Like, I mean,
no, not back when I know what timeline you're talking about.
Yeah, like I don't think it was. Yeah, it wasn't really around. So like I would go on like Facebook and Instagram and just throw my name out to anyone who would take it, and I was paying like $200 to like get up on stage. Like, hey, you gotta sell tickets, and I would sell them to my parents, and like my like I would like beg my coworkers. I worked at a pizza shop. I'd be like, please just give me a couple bucks for these tickets, and I would front a lot of the money, and I would go, and no one would come because no one gave a shit to actually come out to those shows. So like I would give this guy like a couple $100, and it was like that for a long time until I found like Roboto and like places like that where it was like, hey, like this is just DIY, come and set your shit up and play, and like people will eventually show up. So it's rough out there unless you know the right people.
Yeah And like it's surprising like how difficult it can be, or maybe not even difficult. I think sometimes like there's like an intimidating factor that isn't intentional, where it's like you go to like this smaller show, you go to something at like a Roboto or an Ormsby, and there might only be like 25 people there. And it's like, do I belong here? I mean, it's like, yeah, of course you do.
Yeah,
but it's like, it's super easy to feel like left out, and it's like, but there's like so many people that like this shit. I mean, like bringing up like Turnstile again. Like if Turnstile played here tomorrow,
it'd pack out.
You would see like, thousands of people you've never fucking seen in your life. Even a smaller band, like, like, I don't know. I went to the Meshuggah show at Stage AE like a month ago or whatever. Yeah. And it was like full. Yeah. Like, who the fuck are all these people that like these? Meshuggah's wild.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like, this isn't like the most like consumer friendly type music.
No,
and I'm sure there's some people that are like, that were dragged there by coworkers and stuff, but it's still a lot of fucking people. And it's like, if you like this, if we could get like 1% of the people that are at this show would fill any other of these fucking small rooms that we try to play.
Well, like even like less consumer friendly bands. Like, I mean, I went to like a Slipknot show like 2 or 3 years ago, and I mean, they get 10,000 some people down there, and like even like people go for like Volbeat, Like, I mean, hey, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, hey, if that's what you like, that's what you like. I mean, by all means, but I mean, like, there are things probably happening in your backyard that like are similar to that might even.
It's a big thing. It's like their night out, right? It might be their one night out a month. Like, honey, we're filling up the fucking SUV. We're going to Slipknot, like, cool. But are they going to do that for me? Should I expect them to do that? So I always am very, very genuinely thankful anytime anybody comes out to a fucking show. Cause I know how much it takes for me to dedicate a night to just go see music. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
So, respect to all them people out there that I see at shows all the time. Even if you only make it to one show, good for you.
Yeah, anytime you make it out, definitely is.
So I tend to be, kind of a loosey-goosey podcast host. I don't really have any pre-planned questions. Yeah. I don't like to ask the boring questions, what drives you? When did the band start? Why did the band start? Who the fuck,
Yeah.
I'm not really interested. A question though, that I feel I'm going to make an exception for, the generic podcast question that I need to make an exception for is the band name.
Fucking knew it.
Immediately, I thought too.
I particularly don't really care. Honestly, it's a fine band name. You need to name the band something. But I feel like people that are listening they're going to fucking hang me out to dry if I don't ask this question. So who wants to take the lead on this?
I can't because I wasn't in the band when y'all came up with it.
Oh, you want to take the lead? Yeah, you go for it.
That predates my tenure.
So, oh man. All right. Well, so me and V, and I guess kind of all of us, we joked and we always say we really shouldn't say how we came up with the name and all that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Just keep it, vague or tell someone you were kicked in the head when you were a kid or something like that. But it actually came from a list. It was some weird Facebook suggested thing. I don't know. It was a list of reasons you could be institutionalized in the 1800s.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, and there were a lot of really ridiculous reasons. And it was I believe it was a list for women too. It was showing how poorly women were treated back in the day. And it was for smoking too many cigarettes or for chewing tobacco or for getting kicked in the head by a horse. And I think we saw that name and we were oh, this one really, that just those words just really stand out on a page, and I think we ran with it from there.
Well, the original idea we were going to do was we were going to just go by Kithbaugh, the acronym?
Yeah, the acronym for kicked in the head by a horse.
Yeah, and we were just going to go with Kithbaugh. Don't tell anyone what that means, and just look like it's an artsy name, but never give context to it. And then as time went along, people would joke and be like, "Oh, kiss balls, haha," and like stuff like that. I'm like, okay, we need to just say this.
Yeah. But I mean, it's also it definitely is one of those names that, like, in my opinion, like, if from like an outside perspective, if I were to like see that as a name, like as like a suggested band on like, I don't know, like oh, this band suggested for you, I'd be like, oh, what the hell, like I gotta at least listen to a second of this to like know if it's good or something. So
yeah,
even if you hate it, that's a reason to click on the name, I feel like.
And then like it doesn't help that like the band started as like just a pure joke, and just we really didn't give a shit. Like we were just like, oh, that's a funny name, let's just roll with it. Or like, and then it's just like that first EP, which is songs that I like had pre-written like years ago, and I never used. And it was for different projects that never got used with, and I just like, because his band came over to record an EP with me. And
that's how we all met. I had heard Larry's like solo stuff like originally, like way back in the day, and I loved how it sounded, and I was like, please record me. And like, I mean, I was like a little like kid basically, and I was like, please record me, and he did. And he was showing me like the like little riffs that you had, like demos recorded, and we rolled with it.
Because every time we'd be done recording, I'd be like, "You want to hear some stuff that I wrote years ago?" while I like bounce this project out.
The sound guy at the shows.
Yeah.
You want to hear some shit? This is my demo.
That's literally how it like felt.
That's how it worked. And they ran with it.
It was just a bunch of songs. I'm like, I think these songs are cool, but like, I have no idea what to do with them. I was still in a mindset of like, I'm not putting nothing out because no one will see it. Yeah. Like going back to that again, like I was in that mindset, so I would just.
And then didn't you say that some of the songs were like rejected songs from like previous bands?
Yeah,
they're like you like had like riffs and you were like, yeah, this one didn't really work, so we scrapped it.
Yeah, like the whole first EP, and then like the Charles Bonnet on the second EP were all from that, like pre-written and just never used. I still have like a huge backlog of songs I never used for anything, and it's kind of fun to have that because I can go back and be like, oh, here's some riffs, I'll throw it in that, like. Take what I need.
Spice it up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's your closet. You can mix and match that wardrobe however you like.
Exactly.
No rules. And when is like a song like ever really done? Like sometimes I'll think about music that I made like years ago that like only a handful of people even heard, and an even smaller amount of them may even remember it.
Yeah.
And it's like there's like cool ideas here. It's like there's plenty of artists back in the day that would like re-record songs on multiple albums or do things. It's like sometimes if I'm like feeling like in a creative rut, it's fun to like go back and like try to rework something. It's like, I did this.
Yeah.
Why not just spice it up and try to make something new out of it?
Exactly.
Give it, give it some life. Who knows how much time I put into it years ago for like nobody to hear it. It's like, well, maybe I have like a little bit more of an opportunity to share it with more people now. I've met more people over the years, and I still think it's a really cool idea of a song. So
yeah, well, like
throw it out there.
Our song Charles, which it seems to be everyone's favorite song.
Peter.
The Peter song.
The Peter.
That song was originally written for an old project that I was in called Forsworn, and we released one single and that was it. And the band broke up, and I was just like. I just started writing like the next EP, and which is funny, we never got the first one out. And and I was just like, these songs are kind of cool. Like I don't know what to do with them though. So it was just cool to see how like a song that I wrote back then that like I thought they were cool, but I'm just like, they're whatever. And then I've read like the one song from that turns out to be everyone's favorite from this band, which still is hilarious to me because it's definitely like the easiest one to play too. It's like the simple 4-3-1 hardcore type riff style, which anyone that plays hardcore knows exactly what I mean by that.
Well, I think you're also kind of explaining why it might be everyone's favorite.
Well, yeah. And it still has like that weirdness to it with like that I always try to do. So it even though it has like that riff that's kind of generic, the song itself still has its own sound to it, which I try to blend that a little bit so the songs aren't too obscure and too weird that like no one will care about it. You know what I mean? Unless you're really trying to find that.
Yeah, it's introducing chaos into your work is always I find for me it can be like a really delicate balance, because I want people to know what's going on, but I also want to like challenge myself and I guess challenge the listener a little bit where I can with like, hey, this is maybe something that you're not expected or something you're not supposed to do, but it's like me. I feel like this is my unique voice that I'm offering to the world here today with this piece of work.
I feel like a lot of people, like, honestly, probably everyone has like that own voice in some form or another within some form of art, or it doesn't have to be art, but just anything, any type of form. Like, I just feel like a lot of people don't access it, or maybe they just don't care to. But like, if they did, I like the amount of art and the amount of like music that we would have that would just be so different and so beautiful would be incredible. Like, I've always wondered that too.
I think a lot of people, well, we'll say, I think some people are maybe just like afraid to put stuff out, or afraid to like, like I've maybe, let's say, you're a band or an artist, or you put out music and like you have that one unexpected hit, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, shit, well, now, that's just one song that I did. I have all this other stuff that sounds like this, but everybody likes this one song, like the song that you were just talking about, right? It's like, there's a world where every single song that you write moving forward can be just trying to chase that dragon, just trying to copy that, because that's what people like. So let's lean into that.
Yeah.
And then, you kind of lose your identity and like your voice in the sense, because you're trying to just play for the crowd to build the fan base. And I think it's easy to lose yourself in that. I'd be very, I don't know. I feel like I'd be really bummed out if like I got really popular off of like one particular thing, and then I had to like creatively wear a Halloween costume the rest of my life.
Oh yeah.
To
I'd
like
lose my mind
keep
being
up
a
my
one-hit
success when it's like, you evolve, you change, your interests change, and times change. And I don't know. It always like, I like when bands will like go out and do different things and experiment, even if it's not like their sound that got them popular. I think it's like a really bold move to be able to do that. But it's like, as an artist, it's like, I understand that and I can relate to it. If I was just a music listener and I wasn't like a creative person, I could maybe understand why I'd be upset about that. Like, oh, why doesn't this isn't the Metallica I remember.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what the fuck do you want them to do? They're like 1,000 fucking years old. And like, you can't do the same shit over and over again. Even I don't think Margaret could
do that shit. And I often wonder if that's how like a lot of bands will fall into those. Like they'll start off with like an album or an EP or something that's like way different, like their own thing. And then they'll have that one song that just kind of blows them up a bit. And they're like, okay, we need to chase that sound. And then they kind of start falling into that, how I was saying earlier about so many bands falling into like one type of genre or one type of sound and like kind of doing the same thing over and over again, or blending with other bands. I've often wondered if that's how that kind of starts. Some bands, blow up with that one song, they fall into that and they just start doing that one song, that one style,
I mean, also too, going back to like, if you're, I don't know, maybe you're a band that gets signed, and maybe you're a band that gets signed with a song that does well. Now all of a sudden the label's like, hey, we need another, like, listen here, guys, we need another Glow On right now. And like, I haven't like digested a new Turnstile too much. I know a lot of people like them. Some people don't like them. Everything that I've heard from the new record, to me at this point in time, sounds like a band trying to sound like Turnstile. Doesn't really sound like Turnstile. I feel like they're just trying to Glow On again.
Back. Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe it'll make more sense to me down the road. I don't know. I'm not like a mega fan of them anyways, but I think it's cool what they're doing. And it's just like an interesting conversation to have in the realm of like hardcore and heavy music, with them like having all of the eyes on them that they do.
Yeah.
And it's a good opportunity for like people to learn about other bands in the scene if they dig a little deeper.
Then,
I will say that Glow On is actually how I found Turnstile. I that probably makes me look really bad from like a hardcore perspective, but I mean that was like, I mean I knew the name, but like I found them from Glow On, and like I haven't really listened to the new album. I listened to the singles, and I really like how it sounds. Like it's I think it's like a easily digestible type of hardcore, to where like, you know, it could be like, it could bring more people in.
Yeah,
like into like the community, and like, oh yeah, I like how this sounds. I want something that's a little more punchy. Let me find something that's a little more aggressive, and then they, you know, eventually will fall into the realm like we did and listen to something really obscure and heavy.
Sure, it's a gateway band.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been a very, very long time, and there's nothing. I think some people might think that of that term is like a negative thing. I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't think it is either.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
the world needs its Slipknots. It needs its Turnstiles. It needs its whatever Metallicas,
and even like a band like Knocked Loose right now. Like I can't say I'm like a huge fan of like really anything Knocked Loose. I know who they are. Like I've listened to their albums. They're fantastic musicians, but like they're blowing up, and that's like awesome, because like I don't really listen to the radio, but like I like was in my mother's car the other day, and like they were on the radio, and I was like, are you kidding me? I was like this is like a really heavy band, Mom. I was like, do you know this? I was like, this is like a really scary band. So you know, so I think that's cool that, you know, metal in like a whole is like starting to become a little bit more recognized, regardless of how it's becoming recognized.
Yeah, so. I mean, it was overdue. I mean, there was a time like in the 90s when like Korn was like the biggest fucking band on the planet, and like Limp Bizkit and all that
off,
shit.
I feel like, you know, I feel like pop punk and like, you know, alternative music kind of took its
Limp Bizkit never does.
Yeah, that kind of took the reins in like the early 2000s, but I feel like nowadays it's starting to come back. Like this like screamo community. Like we played a show last year in April up in Rhode Island. Was it Providence, Rhode Island? Yeah, it was in Providence, Rhode Island, and it was a festival called Clam Jam Fest, and like we played with Versus Self and a bunch of other like Catalyst, like a bunch of other like emo screamo scrams bands
and stuff.
And like in my head, I wouldn't really consider us like a scrams screamo band. Like I think we're a little bit more like, I don't know, I would say like we're more hardcore leaning than anything.
Yeah.
But like playing a show like that, there were like 700 some people there, and I was like, I have never seen this many like younger people like at a show for like screamo bands that are like literally bands that like are playing out of their garage right now, like, and they're all like doing like different styles of like, you know, this heavy music. And I was like, it's not going away. If anything, it's, you know, it's growing in like this small little community somewhere. So
that show blew my mind.
I still to this day, like I honestly like that show, I will probably like look back on that show for like when I'm dying. I will be like, April of 2024. That was a good month. Like,
just imagine if we had some of the songs we had now, like written and ready back then. Oh
yeah. So, but it's like that community, like I would really say has been a big one that's helped us, you know, get traction for, you know, if you want to say we have traction right now, like if anyone knows who we are, like
we've been kind of slow at the moment with everything, but yeah,
but like if people know us, I really would attest it to the scrams and screamo community outside of anything else.
Oh, they've embraced us like a lot.
Literally, it's been like a giant bear hug from everyone in that community, and it's amazing. So
and it's a big old bear hug back too, because like to go off on your point, it's like we really don't sound scrams or screamo, but you can definitely hear it's you know it's in there. It's an added little spice.
Yeah. Shout out Cohog Emo
for real.
Yeah.
That and I think a lot of that, like why they embraced us like they did is like all of our recordings are very, very DIY and very like raw and not overproduced at all. Like, and even like our live stuff, like we have samples and stuff, but we run it through like a a little looper pedal, and we're not on a we're not on a click or nothing.
It's not like a
it's
track or like we don't have a laptop that like runs anything. But like I'm not like even hating on any bands that do that, because that's definitely a talent within itself to run like backtracks and things like that, because that means you gotta like really be on time. Like you really gotta be with it. But we I guess freeform it a little bit more. Our shows can. We like
click.
Yeah, Jake is our
I'm
click.
click track.
And our click likes to be fast or slow or right on time.
Yeah,
it just depends on how we feel. Not even shit talking.
No,
I'm just saying, like it just depends on how we feel like that day. Like we could be playing like really
I thought you were
fast.
gonna start shit talking Jake.
No hate.
No,
It just depends how we feel, you know.
So Joey, who drums in Greywalker, it's so funny because like there's days where it's like we'll be like halfway through a song and you'll see like they're looking at each other. We're like, fuck, we're cooking right now. And like we like no click and just being in that moment of whatever the drummer feels like, you know?
Yeah.
It's cool.
Here's a question: is Sleep Token a gateway band?
I don't have a horse in this race.
A gateway to metal? I don't know.
Any form of aggressive music, I guess, or metal, hardcore.
I heard a quote. Somebody was talking about Sleep Token, and they said that they're like they're so not metal that you could put them in a checked bag and it would get through TSA.
Oh my god.
And like
awesome.
I don't really give a shit. I get how and why it's working. It's just music for a different demographic of people.
Yeah.
That is not my demographic. I think that the gimmick is doing a lot of favors for them. I was at fucking like Steel City Con, like the comic book shit.
Yeah.
And like, like you go and there's like fan art of like Michael Myers and Jason and Freddy and all that shit. There's like Sleep Token fan art.
Really?
Like mixed in. They're like selling like Sleep Token stuff, Ghost stuff, and then like Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger. Like it's getting mixed in. So there's a lot of this like horror community that I think is embracing them because of the look. And then there's that like accessibility where I think there's a lot of people in the horror community that even though they are into, fucked up movies and dark stuff, they don't necessarily like heavy music. They like the aesthetic, but they don't like the music. There's a big part of like the Taylor Swift fan base that is like this.
Yeah.
And we could get more into that if we wanted to. But really,
I never heard
all I'm saying is like there's people that like that dark aesthetic but not the music, and I think Sleep Token found a really sweet spot where it's like we can look scary and sound pretty and people are going to eat this up.
Yeah. And I can say like, I mean, like me personally, like I'm into like the, I guess like theatrical side of things.
Sure.
Like, I mean, like not me like playing in a band. I'm not saying I'm the one that's going to like dress up or like, or do like crazy stage stuff. But like, if I am going to see something, I would like to be entertained. So like, if your version of entertaining someone is like, not like going like we like go crazy on stage, you know, like we like throw our stuff around, like Larry throws his guitar on the ground, like, you know, if your version of that is dressing up and doing that stuff, like hell yeah, like, you know, I personally would not say I would go out of my way to listen to that music like on my own time, but like if I had the opportunity to go and see it live, I'm sure it's probably like a really cool show to see, like with like lights and smoke and like all that stuff is coming around.
Fucking sick. I will put that out there.
Yeah, like I'm sure like they're probably they're great musicians, but like it's
like they are good. Like I think that like musically it's like well composed music. It's produced top level, you know, like there's a ton of money and all this energy and time that's going into it and has been going into it for a long time. You know, it's not like everybody just woke up and Sleep Token selling out shows all over the world. They did the same fucking thing that everybody else did, where it's like they went through the bullshit ringer, small shows. They've been putting out music for years. I remember like a friend of mine showing me their music like a very, very long time ago, probably like almost 10 years ago now at this point. So they've been doing it for a while. Yeah. So I respect the grind and I'm glad that it's working out for them.
Yeah.
But the discourse about the band to me is way more annoying than the band itself.
Yeah. Like I'll say that. Yeah, exactly. Cause like, I mean, if you go on social media, like, I mean, for me personally, like I use Facebook and like a lot, and it's like, I'll go on there and I'll see like, like, who's worse, like this band or versus Sleep Token or like X, Y, and Z. And it's like, I've actually never like it actually, I had to go out of my way to like go and listen to Sleep Token because I only just saw people shit talking them and I never saw anyone like actually playing or listening to the music. It was just shit talking them. So, you know,
sure. I mean, it's, you know, I think it's, you know, I think people, you know, people like to shit talk things they don't understand. I think there's also like a jealousy element to it too, where it's like, okay, like I get it. You know, most people in alternative music, we don't have faces for high definition by any means. You know what I mean? We're not the prettiest bunch. And it's like these ding dongs found out a loophole, you know? So, and they're milking it, you know?
I think to their benefit, they've been like staying to the, like, they're like, I don't want to say gimmick. I don't know if that's really what the right word for, but they've been grinding for so long and they've stuck to the same like thing for so long. And the fact that no one actually still knows who they are, from what I've read, like they're really good at hiding their identity behind the mask. Like, it's insane that they've been around for this long doing this much shit, and they're still sticking to the bit.
I mean, that's got to be the dream. Like, I would hate to be like widely known, like I don't know, I guess internet famous, and like not be able to like go and get groceries at Walmart or like, you know, that would get really old. Like,
yeah, I imagine I don't know what the fuck the structure of how this band makes music is, but I imagine it's probably similar to how my understanding from my inside baseball of Ghost is, where it's like the people on stage are not the people writing the music pretty much at this point. You know what I mean? Like, you got one person and then the rest is hired guns.
Yep.
And I feel like Sleep Token probably took a note from that. I feel like, you know, it's probably singer drummer. I'm sure whoever that vocalist is probably playing guitar or has somebody writing those songs. And then everybody else is like, we're talented players. Sign this contract. Keep your fucking mouth shut.
Yep.
Take your paycheck and let's have some fun.
And hey, I mean, that's probably not a bad gig either. I mean, because you get your identity is completely concealed, and you know, you can go and, okay, cool, Sleep Token's not touring right now, I can go and be in my other band. You know, for all we know, it could be the, I don't know, freaking vocalist of like Sanguisugabog or something. Who knows? Like, it could be anyone. Like, so
there's a theory online of who the vocalist is, which I find hilarious. I can't remember the dude's name though.
It's Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
Bo Burnham. I'm telling you, it's gotta be. Ever since I saw that theory, I'm like,
I can see that.
Damn. Okay.
Bo Burnham's been quiet since he released that Inside stuff.
Exactly.
I mean,
hey, I also don't have a horse in the race. I don't particularly care. I mean, I hope that nobody finds out. You know,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it'll
It's
happen
cool.
eventually.
Yeah.
You know,
They put their faces on the last album. Classic.
Yeah.
Boom. This is us.
you know, it'll probably come to light one day, but you know, it's just nice to see that there is a world where you can do alternative, adjacent, weirdo, kind of heavy music, and people will go and pay for it. People are still interested in live music. They are interested in music with guitars. They are interested in music with some yelling. You know, it's possible. It's not an impossible thing to reach people. And I hope that those people that listen to that band, I hope they get years of enjoyment out of Sleep Token, because life is hard. Shit sucks. And to have something in your life that brings you a little bit of joy, even if it is mid-ass music, is fine.
Gotta enjoy the little things. Yeah.
Totally fine. You know, like I like boring things too.
I can't say shit. I grew up on pop punk. Like to his credit, I found Turnstile from Glow On too.
Yeah.
But, like that's because I was just getting into hardcore. Like I wouldn't say I was listening. Like my gateway bands were Rarity, which is a Canadian post-hardcore band, and then after them it was Kaonashi, which like if I don't listen to Kaonashi and do all that drumming and even post a drum video, they don't end up finding me, and we, you know, years later we don't end up doing any of this shit. So it's like, I don't know. Like Kaonashi is the big gateway band for me. So I trade off. Like some people don't like Kaonashi because of the vocals, so I can't say things about or I can't be like, oh yeah, I don't like Sleep Token because of this, that, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like I get it. So
yeah,
you know, I got my own.
Yeah, there's there's definitely genuine reasons sometimes to not like a particular band, you know, depending on like whatever shit they're yelling about or what their attitudes or lives are like in their personal life, maybe shit that they've done to people, stuff like that. Like, you know, fuck that, right?
Yeah.
There's no excuse. Like, you know, I remember what was the ding dong from As I Lay Dying.
Yeah.
It's like dog, like this dude is a fucking clown, and there's also 1,000 other bands that sound exactly like this. Like you don't have to listen to this band anymore.
Yeah, honestly, that whole situation was crazy.
Yeah,
like, and they brought him back, and then like he did something again. Like he like just got like arrested for like domestic violence or something. Like I can't remember exactly what happened, but like something crazy happened.
It's like I'm not. It's just like. But like shit like that. But anyways, going back to like Sleep Token stuff, it's like, look,
we got on.
It's just kind of corny, but that's fine.
Yeah,
you know, it's okay for me to think things are corny. You know, again, people are getting enjoyment out of it. Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't give a shit.
Just gonna say it. I'm a Sleep Token fan. Okay. I never wanted to say
That's
that.
okay, Larry.
Because I know everyone's
okay.
got shit on me for it, but I've been listening to them for years, and I've always really fucked with them. But I totally get why people hate them at the same time.
To be fair, the only reason I really shit on them is just to fuck with you. That's it.
figured.
That's the whole
lines up.
reason. Ever since you told me you were a Sleep Token fan, that's when I've been just fucking with you.
Yeah.
Because like their older shit was actually like way more in depth with like the heavier stuff, and that's why I liked it a lot. But I will say their newest album sucks. I do not like that new album at all.
You gotta
Mostly
DM
just
Bo.
pop songs. It disappointed me a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's going back to that, like, hey, like, what's working here?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
the
aesthetic is great, but people, you know, whoever's paying for all this fucking shit, paying for all their cute masks and whatnot, right? Those people that are signing the checks are seeing, like, what songs have the biggest streams.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we need an album of all of this.
Yep. Meanwhile, Knocked Loose is still writing heavier and heavier and darker albums as they go along and get bigger and bigger and bigger. That band blows my mind.
But I'm curious, like, over time, like, how sustainable it'll be. You know, like, I think Sleep Token will be fine.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about Knocked Loose. I'm just, you know, because like right now it's still in that like phase where it's like, is this just a phase?
Yeah.
Or is this going to actually open the door for more things and more discussion? Like a few years ago, I remember like Lorna Shore had a lot of eyes on them.
Yeah,
and then that kind of just poofed. I mean, they're still big in in our community.
Didn't they
but
play like Coachella or something? Like
I know they were playing like some really big stuff, but I think they're getting ready to put out some new stuff. So who knows? Maybe it'll all
I know not
come back.
Coachella.
Yeah, like
they did.
Yeah, it's crazy seeing like big bands like that are, you know, really heavy, like doing big things like that. Like, because Coachella is like a LA, isn't it? Like Los Angeles type, or maybe no, it's not in Los
California.
Angeles. Yeah, it's like a California type thing where there's a lot of like pop artists and like influencers, like TikTokers and things like that.
Like, people that, I mean, I think people that run labels, the thing that's interesting about heavy music is if you find a band that clicks, a band whose name looks good on a t-shirt, Knocked Loose, you can't get too, that's one of the best fucking band names of the past 20 years.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
It looks, you know, and it's like talking and thinking about this just from like a pure like marketing thing. Hardcore bands, metal bands probably move way more fucking merch than like your average indie rock band.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's a part of the community. And like when we like talk about touring with these bands, a lot of it is just being like a traveling merch store. You know, so it's like I'm sure people see like the opportunity of just like, hey, let's get this band and we could fill these fucking venues, get a few thousand people that are all going to spend fucking $45 on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Well, especially if like these
printing
like,
money.
Like if especially if those like bands like stay true to like the I don't know the word for it, but like not charging a ridiculous amount for merch, like, you know, because I know like some like pop artists can sell like t-shirts for like $50-$60, and it's like it's no better than the $20 t-shirt I got down the road at, you know, at the local hardcore show. It's like it's the same brand and everything, you're just upcharging it for some reason, and it's like
that
the chances of you selling one $50 t-shirt versus you selling 3 or 4 $20 t-shirts, I feel like you're more likely to sell the cheaper ones and get way more people to buy that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you know, getting into the merch pricing and stuff, that's a whole other
yeah the printing, you know, and like, you know, printing rates and all that. I know that's
just getting
the
shit made, but like selling it, like if a venue's doing merch cuts, a lot of times people will
fuck venues that do merch cuts.
Yeah, they have to like fucking price adjust their stuff to like, they have to price adjust their stuff because it's like, if the label paid for this fucking shit, the label needs them to make X amount of profit contractually off of each unit. So, and that's, if there's a merch cut, it's like, well, guess what? You have to add that to make up for it, because we still need our cut. And then if you're a fucking touring band, support stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, the headliner has shirts for $40. Your shirts have to be $40. You can't sell shirts for cheaper. You can't have merch that's cheaper than the other bands,
which is normally in the contract.
It's a whole, like, that's just a whole stupid world. Like, I mean, it's just unfair to a lot of people, it seems like.
Sure. You know, I mean, like,
stiffed in areas they don't need to be getting
there's so much money that's traveling though, and the venues see it. You know, like we played a show, Normal Creatures played a show with Mark Rubier at Stage AE, and it was sold out. And I was talking with their merch person, and like they didn't have like barely anything. It was the last night of their tour. And he was like, yeah, we played DC last night, and like we, you know, we're like, you know, we won't really have too much to sell tonight.
Yeah.
And I was like, how much merch did you guys sell last night? He said $35K.
What? My God.
In merch in a night.
Insane.
And that was like, and he said it as if it was just like, yeah, that's just like what we've been doing. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, you're consistently playing rooms with thousands of people and selling shit for $60. You can make that money real quick. And the venues see that. And they're like,
start putting it in your contract.
10% of $30K is a lot of money.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Bands
and the merch cut is never just 10%.
Yeah. No.
You know, so it's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, flip the script. Bands should put it in their contracts that they want liquor cuts. Any alcohol that's sold in the room, I want a cut of that too.
It's funny. Like, there's like a sweet spot. we should probably, before we get lost in for another half hour, we've actually been cooking for a long time here. But one thing I do want to say, bringing this back to DIY, is there's an interesting situation with one band that I know kind of personally that started DIY, got signed, got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and got to this point where it was like, fuck, we were actually making more money and doing better before we were playing the big shows. And it's like, we are playing these bigger shows. We're not making as much money. We're not actually even playing to our fans anymore. And it's like, what the fuck are we doing? Why did we do this? And it's, you know, and then you have to try to like work your way back down, but you've signed these fucking deals. Your shit isn't yours anymore. You're fucked. That's scary.
Yeah, it's got to be a terrible situation to be in. Cause like, I mean, I know me personally, like I would almost never want to sign over like my rights to what I'm creating because like, and like having like, I mean, I know there's like people that are on labels that I'm like, that I'm sure the label wants you to like produce a certain album or an EP every so many months or something like that, or it's just like being forced to be creative and like then they still have the rights over what you did is just not something I ever really want to have to deal with in my life.
I mean, like,
we technically got a taste of it. We tried to rush out an album. We almost rushed it out, but we like decided to just like save it, try to, you know, give it a proper push and see what happens. And honestly, like it was good, but we're now like starting to slowly like jam them still. And it's like, we're starting to like get tighter and, you know, they're a little faster. It's just like, I'm even like rewriting little parts that flow better for, you know, the drums and stuff. And it's like, okay, well, I'm glad as fuck we didn't rush that out because like, yeah, it sounds good. But in a year from now, I'm going to be like, I could have did this so much better. So.
Yeah. And that's why it really takes a long time for a lot of bands because they will sit on it for a long time. Like I know like with, you know, my band that you've recorded right now, we finished that up in like May and I've listened to it 1,000 times now and I'm like ready to redo the whole thing just because not that it's bad by any means. I just like, I constantly want to like add more things and change things around. And it's just, you know, I don't know.
Normal Creatures put out a record in April that we, no joke, recorded 3 times.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Sometimes. I did it 2 times myself. And then the third time it was like half and half hybrid with me in another studio. But it was that was the thing. It's like, I'm just like, it just wasn't there. And it's like, I almost like, for me, like with that band in particular, cause it's so like track heavy, it was like recording was doing that was like part of the songwriting process in a weird way, you know, like getting that, figuring out how these songs are going to be structured and flow together. But it took like fucking 4 years. Spent a long fucking time on it, but also not 4 years consistently. Cause going back to like people have fucking jobs and other bands and traveling and what, you know, just lives. You have lives outside of things. You know, if I could just find some sort of AI algorithm to pick out exactly how much time was spent only working on that album, I'd be very curious.
Oh yeah, because I mean,
you know,
like
if the neural link gets forced into my brain, maybe I'll be able to do something cool like that.
Yeah, but because I mean, I know like for us, like we all work like 9 to 5, like I said, but like we all like don't really live close to each other. I mean, I guess you two do now, like, but I mean, recently. We're all like scattered. We all were scattered across like the city of Pittsburgh, so it's like if we can get together once a week, like, my God, that's a blessing because like, you know, we normally can't do that. Like once a week is like, hell yeah, we got this. Like, or it's like, you know, and sometimes even if it's like once or twice a month, it's like, yeah, finally we have like some time to get together. Everything works out here. And, you know, hopefully with you two being closer.
Well, now it's a new spot.
Things are going to be a little bit different, but, you know, it's hard writing and completing an album.
Yeah. Like it's a lot of work. It's why I'm always very, very like, anytime a band is like, hey, we made an album and we're putting it out, I'm like, wow, congrats.
It's a lot of work.
That's a lot of fucking work. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and then not even to think about like the getting like a cover for it and like getting like all the art getting to be correct, like his sizings and all that shit on Spotify are ridiculous if you don't know what you're doing. Like,
and all the tedious mixing and all that stuff.
yeah, like
staring at a screen for hours and hours and hours. All that fun stuff.
Yeah. Whew. Hell yeah. Well, gentlemen, I think this is probably a good space to wrap up today's conversation. It's been fun.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Chit-chatting about, all the things that I said we would, except we never talked about the pizza.
I don't know.
Real quick, I will say this. If you are gluten-free for whatever reason, there's a place in Penn Hills called Universal Pizza, and it is by far the best gluten-free pizza I've ever had. And I've tried a lot of different ones. They homemake it, and they do like pizza and strombolis, and like they have like hoagies that are gluten-free. But it's fantastic. Yeah, fantastic.
Hell yeah.
We're just gonna go around and say our favorite pizza places.
We can end on that real quick.
Wrap it up with that. I'll go. I'm from Ohio, so I'm gonna go with Carlini's in Shadyside, Ohio, because it's the square pizza. It's like it's like the Carlos, but it's from the store, fresh, and it's so much better than the Carlos. I'm gonna get yelled at from my family for that, but it is better than the Carlos.
Mine is Le Lulo's.
Oh yeah, Le Lulo's.
I don't know what the area's
Plum.
Plum.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Plum.
down in Plum.
Right next to Penn Hills.
Sweet sauce pizza is the way to go. That's all I have for that.
Hey, I like Badamos.
You ever have Vito's pizza?
Yeah. Well, the cold cheese.
Yeah, that's a very interesting, interesting one to try. Yes,
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I hear a lot of people hate it though, but I mean, hey, it's kind of weird. It's like
cold cheese on pizza is the shit.
I'll tell you this. This is what I'm gonna say. This is what I'm gonna wrap on. I think that you could take everything that I said about Sleep Token and apply it to betas.
Yeah.
The discourse around it is way worse than or it's much more annoying than the pizza actually is. You know what I mean? Like, it's good. I fuck with it. It's different.
If you hate it that bad, ask them to cook it, because they do. They will.
Yeah, or take your ass down the street to another spot.
Yeah. There's a Vicelli's or a Pizza Hut right down the road. Sure.
Okay. Can we talk about Vicelli's for a second though, and just like the little?
We're gonna talk for like 6 hours about
pizza. I don't know. I was talking to somebody at maybe work the other day, and they were talking about I have Vicelli's, and I was like, oh shit, like because I was talking about like I don't remember last time I had Vicelli's, and then we got talking about the little pepperoni cups. Sorry, that's the best shit right there.
Vicelli's pepperoni,
because it traps the grease in.
You two fucked up by not eating before coming here.
You're right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's it. We did it. We covered all our bases now.
Awesome.
Hell yeah. With that being said, that is all, folks. Thanks so much for being here. One more time, give it up. Kicked in the head by a horse. The one and only.
Yeah.
I'll be back again next week with another episode. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Brian Sykes-House. Start the Beat is the podcast. 2025 is the year. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of the people around you. Peace out. We did it. That was a fucking podcast.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Hell yeah.
That was awesome.